It has been 15 years since I uploaded the first episode of the Starly Only Run back on my old channel. And I can't let that pass by without some sort of ceremony, because that was literally half my life ago. I was 14 going on 15. I'm now 29 going on 30, teaching students who were literally born after that video was made. So that's where I'm at emotionally. Um, Now, I originally intended for this to be a climactic battle against Arceus, the final boss of Pokemon Legends Arceus, 1v1 Starsky versus an aspect of God. Um, and then I did it, and Starsky gets one shot. Arceus will just turn into a rock type and use Judgment and one shot him, even if he's at a level 100 with maxed out defensive abilities. So we're just gonna have a little chat, and that's okay. I wasn't exactly sure what I should chat about, so I reached out to the internet, as one often does. Got a couple comments and questions specifically for the occasion, but also got the suggestion to revisit the list of questions from my original 2,000 subscriber Q&A special, which I don't know if that was 15 years ago or 14 years ago, but it sure was early on. That's so that's what we'll be doing. We'll be taking a couple special comments and then revisiting that list, and we'll see how long it takes. The first question is from Seven Soul Light, asking the favorite LP that I have done, and I think this is a toss-up between two. I think the series that I did that kind of allowed me to flex my creative muscles the most, and I think I'm most proud of the kind of creative technical work that I did, was the Black and White series. Just because I did so many interesting little editing tricks. That's where I did dowsing mode. That is, I'm still proud of this. Editing such, like doing chroma key so that 3 evolutions were happening on screen at the same time. And the colored borders and the kind of brief flashes between different versions. And at one point, I think for whatever the name of that dragon city is that's drastically different between the two versions, attempting to walk through both cities at the same pace and have a split screen with one half in the past and one half in the future design. A lot of really cool creative editing in that series that I'm really proud of. And the other is my Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin series. And maybe that's recency bias, but I think that's where a lot of my, like, thinking about games as literature has come out fully formed, because I started this gig as a freshman in high school, and it's not technically done, but by the time I finished that Dark Souls 2 series, I was an English teacher. And the amount of sophistication and the amount of growth that I went through as a critic and as a scholar, just night and day. And so I'm really proud of especially that last episode. Shout outs to the 200 people who watched it, at least 25 of which I think are just me rewatching it. But I'm really proud of the work that I did on that series. The other questions come in from Big Tip on a Bus. Shoutouts to Big Tip on a Bus, by the way. Still at it after even longer than me, and far more active. Thoughts on how YouTube has changed over the years. So I can't say with full authority because I only watch my particular corners of YouTube. But it really seems like the informal, casual energy of a lot of early YouTube has migrated to TikTok for short-form videos and Twitch for long-form content. And like, if you want to watch someone stream content, they'll have edited the highlights together, right? And there was streaming back in the day, but not like there is today. And so I feel like YouTube is now, at least for me, a place that I go to for pretty like polished, ideally shorter form videos, like medium form, I guess, compared to TikTok. Video essays, right? 10-minute little history of a food thing. I got really into food YouTube over pandemic, of course I did. You know how it is. And so that's sort of the energy change I feel, and also maybe it comes with the professionalization of it as a platform, and the idea of being a content creator being a viable business strategy for a select few is that it does feel more professional, at least the stuff that I watch. Feelings towards later Pokemon generations, either as a whole or just the Pokemon designs. This one also from Big Dip on a Bus. I think I've mellowed on Pokemon as a franchise generally. If you watched my neat games I played in 2022 video, you know that Arceus was a really refreshing game for me that I enjoyed a lot. But I mean, I'm going to be echoing a lot of what has been said by a lot of people online, which is that Pokemon games are, mass-produced and rushed out and not given the proper amount of development time. And it shows because you get a bunch of games that could have been really interesting, but aren't. Sword and Shield... If Sword and Shield had some variation of the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, with a dynamically evolving rivalries, and like you can lose, if it's a tournament at each location, it's like a circuit, right? And they could really lean into and make systems out of the idea of being a professional sports celebrity, right? That could be a really interesting game. The school setting of Scarlet and Violet can be an interesting game, but they put it in an open world for some reason. They could have made Pokemon with all the storytelling benefits of Persona's calendar system and social links, but they made an open world and stuck a school in the middle. And when you are on such a tight deadline as the Pokemon developers are, you don't have time to experiment and figure out what works and really refine these ideas. You gotta just go with it because the next generation's coming out in 3 years. Be ready. And they're Pokemon. They're generally enjoyable. But they are, more often than not, a whole bunch of missed potential. Which is why I really hope that they manage to iterate upon Legends Arceus, because they have some really good ideas here that could be expanded and complexified. I also really liked Let's Go, believe it or not, and we haven't gotten any update on that, other than sort of turning into what we got with Arceus. So, non-gaming media that I've been interested in lately. Again, this is from Big Dip on a Bus. I'm back on an anime kick. I am watching the new Trigun. It grabbed me in a way that the original did not. I have, I'm not going to say outgrown, but grown somewhat bored of typical shonen action series, and so I've been reaching out into often more romance areas. Kaguya-sama's really good. Horimiya's pretty good. And so that's sort of been what I've been into, is trying out more romance anime, and it has been a nice shift from a lot of the formula of shonen. And one more stupid one, just for fun, from Big Dip on a Bus. What was the worst meal you've had in recent memory? sometimes I try to make a pasta that involves Parmesan, and the Parmesan just clumps up. It doesn't melt properly. I put it on too much heat, and it it ends up disappointing. It's rare that I have something genuinely truly bad, just because I stick to mainstays and reliable favorites fairly frequently. Um, so I'm not sure I have. I can't remember the last time I had a genuinely bad meal. I wish I had a more exciting answer for that one. Um, so those are the new questions that have come in. We're now going to return back to the list of questions that I got for the 2,000 subscriber special, gathered by Harsh in the Discord. Thank you, Harsh. And I'm just going to make these fairly rapid fire. I don't remember what I answered necessarily all those years ago, other than one or two that for whatever reason I have stuck in my head. If someone goes to the effort of checking what I said, it might be an interesting comparison. Top 3 favorite anime. This I know has changed. Dragon Ball still holds a special place in my heart. Fooly Cooly, important to me. The new one is Sound Euphonium or Hibike Euphonium, depending on how much of a nerd you are. It's really, really... I mean, here's my selling point on it. At one point, you will listen to 2 different trumpet players play the exact same solo back to back in its entirety, and you will be riveted. Fantastic series. What is your opinion on the 3 next-gen consoles? We're talking about different systems than we were back then. I own a PS5, I own a Switch, I don't own an Xbox. Seems like the Game Pass is a service that people are finding a lot of value in, and that's neat. I don't know how it makes them money. PS5 is a pretty good Blu-ray player and entertainment center, and also has Demon's Souls. Whoa, what is happening on the lighting on the screen right now? Whoa, is that what sunsets look like? Interesting. Overall favorite game? Man, I don't freaking know. I couldn't tell you that. The answer used to be Oracle of Seasons. I don't know if I've played it since I did the series for it. That's a hard one. Guitar Hero Rock Band, if so, are you any good at it? This must have been back in the day when those series existed. I played Rock Band once with some people in my dorm. I was bad at it. And, you know, I actually play real musical instruments, which is, I don't know if it's that makes it better or worse. Do I have my own house? People were asking me this when I was 14 or 15. Fascinating. I still currently do not have my own house. I'm at a point in my life where I'm thinking about it. I have a solid career, a pretty a position that I don't expect to go away anytime soon. I have enough money from paychecks and inheritance that I could, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to kind of commit to staying in one place at this point. Are you alive? Yes. What is your favorite Pokemon generation? I think I am still going to say Gen 5, because it's, I think, one of the most narratively ambitious. 9 almost did some interesting stuff, but I think in terms of cohesion and structure, kind of weaker. Do you have any siblings? This is still the same answer. I have an older brother, who now has 2, almost 3 children. What's the first video game I ever played? Gosh. I mean, I have strong memories of getting a Game Boy with Pokemon Blue for Christmas at one point. I suspect I might have goofed around with another game at some point before that. I also have memories of Donkey Kong Country at my cousin's place. What were your family's thoughts on you making videos? I'm not sure they really understood what exactly was going on, but they were happy that I had a creative outlet. And they could tell it was something that I was really passionate about, and so they supported me. Favorite kind of cookie? So I buy the like double chocolate chip, the chocolate chip with the chocolate dough. Um, I go through waves of that. Sometimes I get sick of it. It's a little too intense, but that's what that's the answer I'm gonna go with. Um, Sub or dub? I'm a dub person whenever I can be. Um, the thing that bothers me is that Crunchyroll, now that they've done all those mergers, they'll have the dub, but no subtitles. And I still like to have subtitles because my ears are bad or whatever. I like watching things with subtitles, even if I'm watching them in English, which I prefer. But yeah, dub when possible. Fight me. Actually, don't. It's not worth it. What instruments do I play? Again, can play flute. I haven't done so in many years. Favorite food, color, and place. Um, Food's a tough one. I'll bet my answer last time was a clam linguine dish from my childhood, but I'm a vegetarian now, so I can't answer that. I am going to say, I'm going to say eggs. Favorite color is yellow. No, that's false. That's green. I said yellow because eggs are yellow. It's green. And place, I'm gonna say the mountain trails that I'm able to drive to from my house. I'm in pretty close proximity to mountain trails, and I really like being out in nature. What kind of socks do I like? I wear running socks most of the time. The more garish, the better. What religion are you? I do not subscribe to any particular religion. It's not something that I'm particularly concerned about or think about much. I sometimes approach religion from a literature angle. I love talking about the Book of Job. I think it's an interesting piece of literature and discussion about the nature of faith. I'm not religious. Have you ever played Metal Gear Solid, Half-Life, or Xenosaga games? I played a little bit of MGS5, got bored. Played a little bit of Half-Life 1, got bored. This question was asked, I think, before Xenoblade was a thing. I have not played any Xenosaga games. Port them, please. I'm big on the Xenoblade games. Do you consider yourself a Let's Player? So this was a point of contention back in the day. For whatever reason, I rejected that label. I still don't use the term to refer to myself. I call them playthroughs or series. I'm not as vehement about that, but it's still not the term that I personally use. Do you ever randomly pass out? No. Get that checked out if that happens to you. Do you ever have depression? Not clinically. There are certainly times when I have bad days, but nothing clinical. Do you do indoor tanning? No. I go outside fairly frequently. What do you think of Okami? It looks beautiful. I've only played an hour or two. I have it on Wii. Haven't bothered. Thoughts on One Piece? God, this was a long time ago when this was first asked. One Piece was a thing at that time. I talk about One Piece a lot actually with my D&D group because one of them is reading through it, one of them is current on it, and I think is useful as a tool to think about and talk about world building and like scenario structure. I've tried a couple times to get back into it. I fell off post time skip and just haven't managed to get back into it. I quit at Dressrosa. A while back, I jumped back in, tried to read again from the time skip, fell off at Dressrosa again. So I'm gonna make one more attempt at it when the person in my D&D group gets to Dressrosa, because I think there's probably a lot to learn for me as a dungeon master. Favorite Pokemon movie? I probably haven't seen any Pokemon movies since this question was asked. It's probably Mewtwo. I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't be. Thoughts on modern 3D Pokemon games versus 2D games. When the heck was this question? X and Y weren't out at the time, right? I sort of already covered this in previous questions, so I'm probably not gonna... Yeah, I talked about that when Big Dip asked about it. Are you ever gonna stop making videos in the near future? Well, hopefully that is self-evident. I make 1 or 2 a year. Because I have other creative outlets and other responsibilities. Do you play Mario Kart? Nah. Not really. Katsu or ketchup? I feel like these are just 2 completely different things. Katsu, typically my understanding is that katsu is done with pork, and I'm vegetarian, so ketchup. Opinion on Sonic and the Black Wing. I assume that's supposed to be Night. I haven't played it. But as I said in my Neat Games in 2022 video, I like Sonic Frontiers quite a bit. How do you find the motivation to upload once a day? God, ain't that the question, huh? Part of it was that I made much lower effort videos. Part of it was that videos only needed to be 10 minutes. And also I think I generally did them over the weekend. But yeah, that's... I don't know how the hell I did that. The greatest game of all time. I think I answered Tetris last time, and I think that is still true. It is... I mean, it's just a solid-ass game. Favorite movie genre? That's a good question. Because I see a fair number of movies, and I guess most of them are action, but I don't know if I could... I don't swear allegiance to any particular genre. It's not like, ooh, the new romantic comedy is out, I gotta go see that. No, it's generally a decision I make on a game, movie to movie basis. So I don't think I could say other than The Fast and the Furious, if that's a genre. What's your future career? I wonder what I answered, actually, to this last time, because as anyone watching this probably knows, I am a full-time high school English teacher now, and that is what I intend to continue doing. Why'd you decide to join YouTube, and what motivated you to make videos? I'm sure I told this story last time, but I saw Maryland do his Pokemon Diamond adventure, and it was like, I could do that. And then I got a little lapel mic in my music class, and I was like, I've got a microphone now. And so I gave it a shot, and I did it. And it caught on for a little bit. What can we expect to see you in the future video-wise? I assume that's C from you. You can expect a Neat Games that I played in 2023 video. Past that, I'm not promising anything. Hobbies outside of video games. So I'm a long distance runner. I run marathons and ultra marathons periodically. If you talk to me about that, I will brag about how I ran 31 miles around Mount St. Helens. If you're in Washington, you're familiar with Mount St. Helens. I'm also a dungeon master. I play in 2 D&D games, one as a dungeon master, one as a just everyday player. And yeah, watch anime, play video games, etc. How many video game consoles do you have? I mean, I've accumulated several more over the years. Currently hooked up, I have the Switch, obviously, I have the PS5, and I have my Wii U, because there's still stuff in the Wii U that has not been ported. I also own a PS4, a Wii, a GameCube, and various handhelds besides. What was it like when you first started your channel? I mean, it was an ego trip, I think. I went mad with power, is kind of what happened. I felt like I was getting attention in a way that I was not used to, and that excited me. And it's like, it's all about me, ha 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 ha. But also there's, the rush of energy and creativity that comes with doing something new, right? It was exciting to, it's an infinite possibility space. What do I want to do? I did a solo run. What else is out there? And you see me experiment a bit, in addition to solo runs, I do ROM hacks, I do Metroid games, Zelda games, and it was like, what do I want to do? What games am I excited to talk about? Will I wear a fancy hat? I'm not doing a webcam on this one. I'll tell you right now, I'm not. I'm wearing a headset. What is the meaning of life? It's a big question. And again, I'll be curious kind of what I said last time. I wonder if what I said last time was like just to procreate and sustain the species. I think the purpose of life is something that you need to figure out for yourself. But I also think that that purpose should be generating as much well-being for others as possible, in whatever way makes sense to you and that you can. Have you ever been banned online or on a website? Well, I mean, my original channel got suspended for a while there. Other than that, I don't think so. Would you ever consider coming to the UK? I've still never traveled to the UK for any reason, although I have traveled to Norway several times to visit family. I'm in for tourism, but I don't necessarily have a reason to go for any permanent stay. Will you smash a bad game with Sledgehammer? No. I'll put it back in its case. I mean, I still own a copy of Nier Automata, and that's a terrible game. Favorite kind of cheese? I'm actually big on Munster. I'm gonna say this. I have cheese slices as part of my lunch most days. I have Swiss. I have provolone, smoked provolone, and I have Munster, and I save Munster for last because it's kind of the treat. Favorite Mario character? Do people have favorite Mario characters? Is that a thing? Are the characters strong enough that people have those feelings? I guess my answer is Patrick Gill's really good Toad. Thoughts on Smash Brothers U? Okay, again, whatever year this must have been, the Smash Brothers U was on the horizon. Or maybe that was updated by Harsh, I don't know. I got kind of burnt out on Smash in college. People love to play it in the dorm room because it's a great party game. It's a great socializing game. But I got sick of it. And so I own Smash Ultimate. I played it for, I don't know, 5-10 hours, and I was like, I'm good. I haven't even bought the DLC with Pyra and Mythra, even though I love Xenoblade 2 so much. So, do I like roller coasters? So I don't know. I haven't really been on a roller coaster in many years. What I can tell you is this. I like the idea of going on these kind of terrifying adventure rides, these thrill rides, until about a fraction of a second before I'm sent it to freefall. So, put me on the longest zip line in the world in Alaska, feeling great, right until about a fraction of a second before they set me loose. Put me onto one of those up and down towers, feel good, right until I lift off the ground. So, roller coasters, I like the idea of it, but I'm not really sure for sure. If you had a chance to one chance to make a video game, what kind of game would you make? I think it would probably be an RPG, because again, all the thinking I've been doing as a dungeon master, designing a D&D campaign, has gotten me thinking about world building, and encounter design and stuff like that. And I feel like an RPG would be an interesting and appropriate way to explore those possibilities. And then thoughts on new Pokemon Snap. That definitely wasn't in the original list, Harsh. I'm just sneaking that in. I thought it was alright. I didn't... So, they obviously recognized that Pokemon Snap was a short game with not a whole lot of content. And I feel like they artificially stretched what they had in order to make a longer game. And they ended up making a really repetitive game. And one that it doesn't feel like you're learning more about a particular environment by going through it several times. It feels like you are unlocking new aspects of environment by doing it repeatedly, which is a different feeling. It's not a bad game, but it is not the kind of perfect package that the original is. And that is... Oh, Harsh is saying that that he did update some of the questions to be more in line with 2023. Thank you for that, and thank you for clarifying that. I wish I had read that part before I answered all of them. But yeah, that's kind of the Q&A. That's a good half-hour special. I feel like we can be satisfied with that. So, if you've been here for however long you've been here, I assume if you're here, it's been a long time. Thanks for being here. It's nice to hear the kind words of support on the blue moon that I actually upload something. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're treating yourself well. And I'll see you probably on January 1st, 2024. Peace out, y'all.